Hi guys, welcome back to our channel, the number one place for people who love design, art and all things creative. I'm Jacqueline and I'm an interior architect and designer here at D&B. In today's video, I want to talk about how to get into design school, and I'll also be walking you through the interior design portfolio that got me into university. I know that a lot of you guys will be preparing your portfolios for university and college, and although it's been a long time, a video like this would have really helped me, and yeah, I just want to dish out all the juicy tips I have for you guys. In one of my last videos, it became clear to me that a lot of you were in high school and you were asking me things like where I went to uni, what did I study, and all that kind of stuff, so I want to clear that up for you today. That being said, let's jump into the video. If you're new to the channel, I just want to introduce myself really quickly. I'm Jacqueline and I'm an interior architect here at my design studio that I run alongside my business partner Laszlo, who's a graphic designer and illustrator. We create interior design and branding projects for a range of different clients around the UK and across the world. I want to start off by talking about the things you need to do before the portfolio stage and just general tips that I think you really need to know. And then later on in the video, I'll be giving you guys a look at my own portfolio that got me on to do my interior design course. Just to clear this up so that you guys know, I studied interior architecture and design at Falmouth University here in the UK, which was a 3-year undergraduate bachelor's degree. And I know that university courses differ from country to country, so the length and the content of your course, for example in the US, may be different. One thing to point out that you all need to know is that interior design, interior decoration and interior architecture are 3 different professions. Here in the UK and Europe anyway. I think in the US you have to do additional courses, and as far as I'm aware, there aren't many courses that do interior architecture. Usually they'll have interior design degrees that actually include interior architecture within them, I think. So let me know if you're a professional down below to help each other out. I actually have a whole video on this topic that I've linked at the end of this one. I really recommend watching it so that you're crystal clear on what course you're getting yourself into. Because honestly, looking back, I thought that interior decoration was interior design, and I honestly had no idea what interior architecture even was. I thought that it was mainly picking out furniture, creating mood boards and drawing up floor plans, which in reality is about 1% of what you will actually do in the job. I know this seems pretty obvious, but yeah, just make sure that you have a clear understanding of the course itself. Now, what do you need to get into university? In the UK, you need letters of recommendation from your teachers. You also need a cover letter explaining who it is you are, why the university should pick you, and why you're passionate about that subject. Here in the UK, we call them personal statements. Of course, this is a no-brainer, but you need to reach the grade requirements set by the university. All universities set different boundaries. One could be AAA, one could be CCC, although I think in the UK they now do like some kind of number system. I'm not quite sure. And it's also worth saying that some universities would have expected you to take certain subjects before you actually go to university. For example, my university asked me to do a creative class of some kind. Personally, I took art, product design, geography and maths at A-level, which I believe to be the same as the AP exams and the SATs in America. Correct me if I'm wrong. But I actually ended up dropping maths in the second half of 6th form or high school. You need to do your research before choosing which university you're going to invest your time and a huge amount of money into. Now, I remember when I was looking, when I was about 16 years old, at websites that would rank different universities. And specifically, I would look for who the best universities are at architecture or just arts universities in general, to try and gauge who the major players were. So I would pick some that had interior design and then go to their open day. And they would give you a tour of the university campus, the tour of the dorms, and a tour of the course so that you'd really get a glimpse of what you'd be learning. And I cannot tell you how disappointing some were. Because on these university ranking websites, I would pick the best arts university, supposedly, and when I arrived, it was rubbish. Now I know the reason why. Maybe they were the best at fine art or architecture, but those ranking websites didn't take into account interior design. Just because it ranked number 1 as an arts university doesn't mean that it has the best interior design course, so take those websites with a pinch of salt. Secondly, I would see a lot of my friends at the time who were going off to study medicine, sport, anything academic, Just simply pick the top 5 universities off of these ranking websites without going to the university tour. This is a big no-no. I really believe this to be one of my biggest tips I have for you guys, which is if you're following a creative career path, you have to go see and experience what you'll be learning. By going to the Falmouth Open Day, I realised that it was the best one by far because all the courses were creative. The environment just felt so good to me and I could really see myself fitting in there. Also, I would say that the other universities I went to that had non-creative courses on campus, it didn't really feel like they cared about the creative courses because in reality they don't. You could just get that vibe that the creative courses were there because they have to have them, but not because they want them or care about them. But seriously, I could see how some universities would invest so much in the maths department or the science department and have state-of-the-art facilities, and then you'd look at the creative side and you'd be shocked. Whereas at my university, the students all the way up to the Chancellor were all creative people who cared and knew how important creativity was. Creative degrees weren't deemed as a joke that other universities and students deemed it to be. I can honestly say, looking back, not that I knew at the time, but going to a creative university and surrounding myself with like-minded people was so beneficial for me, and it let me grow more than I could have, I think, at a regular university. And my third and last tip I want to say before I dive into my portfolio is to research students' work. If you take any tip away from this video, please make it be this one, and that's to research past students' work. Going back to what I was saying about open days and university ranking sites, I would just pick the top ones and then attend an open day. What I personally found is that all the universities had different standards and levels of teaching when it came to interior design. Remember, it's not like anything academic, like medicine, where all the graduates leave knowing exactly the same things. I would attend the supposedly top uni for interior design and then actually be really underwhelmed with the level of work. No shade. The reason why you need to go to an open day is so that you can 1. Compare the level of knowledge learned once they finish their final year, and 2. Once you visually see students' work, you can then compare them and see who you think is the best with their final outcomes. Because at the end of the day, with anything creative, the visual aspect is king. For example, I remember liking one university, let's call it University A, and all their work was laid out and I was pretty impressed. But when I went to the Falmouth Open Day, I remember being so blown away with the student work, and I clearly remember thinking I had no idea how to even begin making a project like that. And ultimately, that was the uni I chose because I really wanted to learn how to do all those different kinds of things. The difference between University A and my chosen university was that at A, students were producing work that at my university, students were producing in their first year. Now, I know in this day and age, it might be difficult to see student work in the flesh, but honestly, just go online, do some scouting, and you'll definitely find something. Okay, now let's move on to the portfolio side of things. A huge tip that is key when getting into design school is to, of course, include creative projects. Seems obvious, right? I think I was really overthinking this at the time, but honestly, all they want to see is your creativity. You know, they want to see how you create things, what you're passionate about, and they also want to determine your skill level. Now, you don't have to be Da Vinci level of drawing because let's face it, nowadays most interior designing is done on a computer. But it's definitely a skill that will level up your portfolio and benefit you in the long run. And just honestly, clients still like hand drawing elements to projects. Now, this is completely embarrassing looking back, so don't hate me, but considering I'm capable of creating things like this now, at the time these were the skills I had. Now, when showing your portfolio in your interview, you might not have all the time in the world to discuss 20 different projects. So I would recommend picking a few and ones that showcase different skills. My approach was to show my product design work, my graphic design work, my artwork, and then just some interior design stuff that I had done outside of school. Try and diversify your portfolio so that they see that you have different skills. And also, you may have heard of this method, but this is what I did. So start with a really good piece of work that you like, then, put your least favorite in the middle, and then end with a really amazing bang. You want to wow them to begin with, and then, as you're flipping, it's okay to slip in that piece of work that you don't really like, and then just make sure at the end you leave them with an impression. So put your most favorite work there, I would say. So best, worst, and then a bang. So just to clear this up, I went for an A1 portfolio by Reeves that had these plastic sleeves inside that I just basically put A1 pieces of card in. And honestly, I just had some quite big pieces of art, so A1 seemed like the good size. And of course, all this is linked in the description if you want to buy it. And I'm sure, like you, some of my projects were only half done at the time because I had to finish them off and then give them in for examination at the end of the year. So I just decided to stick what I had done already into the folder by using blue tack. And the old pieces of work that had already been marked, I just glued those down. I actually started off with this A3 folder which contained my product design project from the year before. It was a project I did where I created a bed and desk unit for a university dorm room. Essentially, we had to identify a problem and then design a solution to the problem. Mine was that university students don't have enough room in their dorms, so I created a bed and desk area in one piece of furniture. In hindsight, I shouldn't have done it because I had actually had to build this thing, which I didn't really know, and then I had to take it home, and to this day it has no use in the house and sits in the garden. But I included it because it showcased my thinking in terms of the design process, my technical skills, and that I could use CAD, which in this example was Google SketchUp. And honestly, I think that these technical and software skills really set me apart in the interview compared to people who had just had artwork to show. Also, seriously guys, this A-level was the closest to the interior design course in terms of learning the design process. And if you haven't done any CAD work, computer aided design, just, download SketchUp. I'm pretty sure it's free still, and just play around. Here you can see me making the chair all the way from start to completion. Here's the final product. It's used as a bookcase, chair, and desk in the day, and then at night time the side folds down to create a bed. In my head I thought it was the ultimate space saving product for students, but reality, it takes up so much room in my actual house. Then I started off the A1 portfolio with the work I had at the time for my second year of product design. Now, I had learned from the previous year that we actually going to have to build this thing and take it home, so I wanted to create something a bit more stylish that I liked, that could also fit into my home. And in the end, I created this Scandinavian style solid oak ladder desk that I still have to this day actually. So I started the folio off with the preliminary research I'd done for the desk unit, the design brief, material research, analysis, design movements, product comparisons, store profiling, the design style, and the specification. I can only apologise for the blank page because I've since thrown out my sketches of the desk because honestly, I thought I didn't need them anymore, but on this page, those were the initial sketches of the Scandinavian desk. Then I moved on to a piece of art that I was actually really happy with, which was an artist profile of Antoni Gaudi. Obviously, I know that Gaudi isn't an artist, he's an architect, and looking back, I think I was kind of rebellious in my art A-level. All I wanted to do was draw buildings, and my art teachers wanted me to paint portraits in acrylic, and I'm sure all of you guys doing art right now can relate. But looking back, I'm glad I just did what I wanted because those 2 years of drawing buildings has helped me develop my drawing skills that I still use to this day. I like this piece because of the architectural elements I had drawn and painted, and I wanted to show my interest in architecture in my interview. Now the folio starts to get into the bit that I think personally is the worst, all the stuff I didn't care about too much, which was mainly my artwork. I chose these texture experimentations to show that I'd had a different skill, and really I just liked this fine line drawing that I had done of Norse god Odin, which is why I included it. That led onto a wall hanging I had done for art, which was about the relationship between different gods and their corresponding temple or building. There I go again with the buildings. And then on the other side, some prints I'd done, which honestly I have no idea why I did those. Then onto the next page, I wanted to showcase my drawing skills with pencil, so I included a piece I'd done on my grandparents, and then this piece that was actually just experimentation work. And then again on the next page, just some still life pencil work and portrait. These were acrylic pieces that I had done on the artists Francis Bacon and Chuck Close. Again, not that I cared about the work that much, but it did highlight another skill that I had. Then this piece I actually quite liked, which was a Nutcracker set design I had made back in GCSE art, which I think showed again a different kind of piece. Next was my graphic design GCSE project, where we had to make a board game from scratch, and I decided to make an Iron Man board game. The real reason why I chose this project for the portfolio was to highlight my drawing skills and my CAD skills. I had made these different variations of the Stark Tower, which I thought showed again my interest in architecture, even though it was on a tiny scale. Yeah, that was the final result. What do you guys think? And then to end with a bang, I ended with like an interior design page. I actually did work experience in an architectural and structural engineer firm, so that was the work I had created there. Luckily, I knew how to use SketchUp, so it wasn't too embarrassing for me when I was working there. And I created a floor plan sketch, an office design in SketchUp, and then a steel framing for a building. If you guys can even just get a week work experience in an interior design studio, it would be really, really good for your portfolio. Unfortunately, even if that is like a free internship, just bombard them with calls and emails to get you something. And then to finish, I had created 4 different interior design concepts using an app on my iPad. I'm really sorry, I don't remember which one it was. And I created a Moroccan themed living room, a Chinese restaurant, like a Scandinavian Art Deco cafe, and a Parisian restaurant. Obviously the work I'd done in this page was focused around interior design, and I included it because I realised I hadn't really shown that I was passionate about interior design, so that's why I decided to end with that. Okay, so now you've done all of that work and now you've been asked to go to an interview at the university. Mine was a group interview led by the head of the course, where he just asked us to talk about our portfolios one at a time. It was pretty relaxed from what I remember, but I remember beforehand I was YouTubing how to be good at interviews and top interview questions, and I was really overestimating how grueling it would actually be. Out of the 3 universities I applied for, 2 of them were portfolio interviews. With a creative course, that's quite normal, so I would definitely spend some time writing down some notes and preparing what you're going to say as you present your portfolio. And just so you know, I got accepted into all 3 of my choices. And the reason why I'm telling you this is because the 3rd one actually accepted me without seeing my portfolio, which at the time I thought was pretty strange considering it was a creative course. But in hindsight, I would say now to steer clear of these universities that don't want you to do portfolio interviews. Because think about it, if they're accepting anyone without seeing their creative work, how good can their standards actually be? You surely want to be with the best of the best, right? Not with people who are just okay, and you certainly don't want to have teachers who don't level up your skills. At the time, I remember being so nervous because honestly, that was the first step I had taken in following my career path, and I remember putting this huge amount of pressure on myself to make sure that all my portfolio was completely pristine. I'm a perfectionist and I wanted everything to be completely immaculate within my portfolio, which I still think is good, but looking back, I would have created more sketchbooks, or I had sketchbooks at the time, I just didn't include them, or just things that I could have passed around. More physical pieces. Although I can only assume that you guys will be carrying out interviews online, so it won't matter as much. If you're new, then welcome. On this channel, we talk about interior design, architecture, illustration, content creation, and graphic design. So if any of that interests you, make sure to subscribe so that you can see videos just like this. What did you guys think of my portfolio? Please be nice. I really, really hope I gave you guys some pointers when it comes to how to get into design school and creating an interior design portfolio. Leave a little designer emoji so that I know that you made it to the end of this video and that you enjoyed it. And if you like this video, then please give it a big thumbs up, because by doing that you really do actually help our channel. Okay guys, thanks for watching. I wish you the best of luck and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!